I thought this picture, first of all, let me know if you don't have access to the picture, if you have problem downloading the picture, because in that case, I can share my screen with all of you. Otherwise, I just keep talking and explain about this lesson. Welcome to your watercolor art class, ladies. So this picture that I picked for you is a great practice. We are going now into more details in landscape. Now we talked about trees. Now we are adding some more elements to our landscape, and this time it is a barn. And I think this is a great practice to work on the textures and the I don't know, those like elements that we see as wood pieces on the walls and the red roof and that red accent on the door, on the wall, which is the door, showing the three-dimensional look of this cube-shaped house is a great idea and way to practice our learning. Far seen trees, those evergreens, mixing and making the colors for them. You already now, by now, you already know maybe which colors I'm gonna go for these type of trees in the far scene. And then in the front scene, the land is covered with the snow and there are some dry bushes, but they are kind of like golden in color, and we are going to also add some spices with our imagination and use some of the skills that we learned through these past weeks to apply for this painting. Far-seen trees are another way to practice what we learned. There are many branches and twigs back there, and you know, we're not gonna paint them all. So telling you all of these things, I am going now to start deciding my composition. Where should I put the land line or the horizon line? I think maybe not. We know the rule of 1/3 for the artist. When we focus, artists focus more on 1/3 of their paper for horizon, like on the below the horizon and the top above the horizon, or vice versa. So in this painting, I can tell that 2/3 of the painting is devoted to sky, the house, trees in the background, and 1/3 is just for the land in the front scene. And that is what I keep in my mind when I start drawing the horizon line using my 2H pencil. And the paper, as always, is Arches 140, 9x12 is the size that I'm using, and it's cold pressed. When I'm putting my pencil down, I'm also thinking about, okay, where should I land the house or the barn on my work? And when I look at this vertical line here, I see it's almost right on the center of this paper. And then the weight of the house is on the left side, which will give me a very nice composition for this painting, because then on the other side, to balance it out, we have some far-seen trees. Again, as artists, and after painting a lot, after taking pictures a lot, after looking at many masterpieces, your eyes will be trained to figure out what to do, what changes you make. For example, you may want to say, oh, you know what? I don't want to put this house here. I want to move it a little bit to the right. Or no, I like it the way it is. I think in this picture, the photographer did a great job. The composition I love. I like it a lot. I'm not going to make any changes much. Another thing which is important in drawing a house or anything which follows the rule of perspective, this is a cube, right? So always compare your lines with the horizontal line. So when I'm looking at the side wall here and the roof, the edge of the roof, I have to check and see, is it diagonally going lower, like toward this way, or going up? And it is a little bit tilted to the bottom, right? Like this. I feel that I like to make the house a little bit wider, shorter and wider. So I'm gonna change this line and move it a little bit to the right. Hi, Patricia, welcome.
Oh, hi there, Seppi.
Hi, good to see you.
You too.
Okay, so another rule of perspective is that if this house is a cube, when the cube is going farther away from our view, which would be this wall in this case, it's getting shorter. So the line is still vertical, but it's a shorter line. And we have a very mild diagonal line. This time it's coming lower, right? It's tilting down. So it seems that these two parallel lines are going to meet each other somewhere outside of the paper on the side, somewhere here, if I want to exaggerate. I'm sharing these things with you because if you don't follow them, you will end up like finishing the house, although it's very simple, right? The form is very simple. At the end, if you don't follow these, you may say, uh-oh, something is off, and I don't know what that is, but these are the small details which are important. Okay, so, and I usually like to exaggerate these a little bit more in my work. So maybe these diagonal lines, they are not angled this much, but I like to angle them a little bit more than the real picture. There are many vertical lines, and those are the spaces in between the wooden boards on the walls or shingles, whatever you want to call them. I'm drawing some of them with pencil, and then we are not worried about, they are like twigs and branches. We are not worried about every single line, right? Every single space in between those shingles. So I am just doing some drawings, gestural drawings, to tell my viewer what they are. First with my pencil, then with the tip of my brush. And then there are some broken pieces here, which we may show. They actually will give this house a sense of character. Maybe a scary one, but it's fun. I can start drawing these bushes here if I want to. However, I did this line to show where to put my bushes when it's time to paint them. So I'm not worried about even drawing them. We can draw with paint and brush later on. And then for the trees in the far scene evergreens, just a very light outline is enough for me to know where to paint the trees. We are not gonna draw them. We're gonna paint them. And then the other trees in the middle ground, right beside the house and behind the house, the barn. Again, like last time, I am more, I'm paying more attention to the trunks. Where should I put the trunks? I'm just gonna draw the trunks. Here in the back, main branches, those are important. Although that I love to draw smaller size twigs too, for the sake of the drawing, I'm not going to do that because we will do it shortly with paint. You cannot skip practicing the branches. Every lesson has, sometimes you may want to say, oh, let's just get rid of this lesson. Maybe the next one would be more fun. Still branches, oh my goodness. I want you to learn how to do trees. Really, this is an important subject in landscape. And then definitely in near future, we work on other elements, meadows and flowers and all those beautiful things in nature. One of my students in MFA, she loves to paint cows. And another student, they have a house in Ireland and she takes beautiful pictures of cows from her backyard. And their cows are very beautiful. So those are other subjects that we can think of, or farmlands. Okay. So here I think I added enough branches, almost. I can see less of the land than the reference image because I drew the house bigger proportionally, if you want to compare. It seems that in my case, the viewer is closer to the barn than in the picture. This is the sky, and then I'm just going to go over the horizon line to make it a little bit darker. Another thing that I'm going to pay attention, since I have the image on my laptop, I can zoom into the picture and check the tiles on the roof. We cannot see much, and it's very old, so the roof, but I still feel that it's good to give it some sense of texture feeling of the tiles, but by just moving my pencil across the roof, this can help me then to add some more marks with paint on the roof so that the roof is not just solid red color. Okay, so we are done with the drawing of this subject, and now it's time for painting. Before I move on, I want to see if anyone has any question. Let me come to you.
Seppi,
Yes.
this is Carol.
Yep.
I had a hard time finding the 1-inch synthetic sable brush.
Oh, really? You didn't have one?
No, I had one, but I've had it for years, and it's kind of, it's not what it is. It's
Okay.
sable. It's kind of soft, so it doesn't really. No, not sable. I'm sorry, ox hair.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
old.
Oxford.
So
yeah, you needed. So this one that I'm holding in my hand is a new one that I ordered because my older one, this one is very old, like this old.
yeah,
But love it. I ordered this one. However, I like the shape of the
yes.
head of this one. Anyway, this one is Winsor Newton. Yeah, Winsor Newton 1-inch flat brush. If you want me to, I can email you a link to go directly to the Bleak website and order it online, or I don't know, Amazon.
Okay, but it has to be synthetic, right? Synthetic bristles.
Yes. Yep. This one is
Yeah.
synthetic. Yeah.
Synthetic, whatever. It doesn't have to be
Ah,
sable.
I mean, synthetic. If you search 1-inch Winsor Newton 1-inch wash brush or flat brush, let me see if I can you check the chat bar if I put something, a link over there for you? Let me see. Are you there? Okay, I think. Let me see. Okay. I think we lost it. Anyway, I'm gonna put this on the chat bar. Is there any question for me, or should we move on to painting? Are we good? Move on to painting. Let's do it. I'm going to turn this off. And colors, technique. I'm going to start by painting the whole scene with blue, the color of the sky. However, I start putting my blue colors up here, and when I get to the lower part of the work, I will use less pigments so that I have lighter values on the bottom of the work, less blue. To wet the paper, you can wet your paper using your flat brush. First. Or you can wet the paper first with spray bottle. I'm using my brush today. Another thing which is very good about this picture is the contrast. You really can figure out where the source of light is. And we can use that clue and exaggerate it in our work too, to create dark and light views in our work. Carol, I lost you.
Yeah, I kind of floated out of space here, so I'm back.
Okay,
Okay.
great. So I am going to, do you know how to check your chat bar?
Well, I just click on it, right? Chat, yes.
And then over there, I put a link. If you click on that link, it will take you to Bleek website where you can
yeah.
order the right brush.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you, Sally. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so now.
Okay. So spending some time on your paper to spread the water nicely. That's what I'm doing now. And checking your paper from the side to get rid of any puddles of water or any dry islands. Usually near the sides of your paper are places where you need to re-wet. Yep, here. Now my paper is ready. To put the sky color down, first of all, which color am I gonna use for the sky? It's a very simple color for the sky, this one. Usually colors which are good for this type of weather and this type of, this time of the year is French ultramarine, and you can mix it with your cobalt, or you can use just French ultramarine. That's what I'm doing. I am mixing a little bit of cobalt with French ultramarine blue on the palette. And then I will start from, and usually the case is the sky on a perfect day mentioned. It's more blue up here, and as we get closer to the horizon line, it's getting lighter and lighter. And here you don't see it much, but we're going to create this feeling anyway. Another thing which is helpful is to put something under your board or block and tilt your block a little bit to help the pigments to bleed toward the gravity. You can create a very perfect solid blue color for the sky, or I don't know, add some emotion to your work by moving your brush around and creating some sense of clouds It's up to you. I'm using a touch of cerulean, adding it to my French ultramarine now. And then I will move my brush fast to this side. I want to keep these textures that I got in the sky. It is a personal choice. You don't have to. If you don't want to do that, you just can add more pigments and more water and cover the whole thing. I am not going over the roof by intention. The blue will bleed onto the roof anyway because the paper is wet, and that is enough. That much blue is enough. I don't want to add more intentionally to my roof. Coming down here, now I'm thinking about the far seen trees here, and then the shadow of the barn on the snow on the land here. This is why I put this blue. It helps me to have that darker value. Here is the cluster of trunks, probably it's darker. So I'm putting some blue here for that. And then I will move my brush, which doesn't have much blue anymore on it, with a very light value or intensity, let's say. I'm just washing this part with some light blue. That's it. That's enough for now. How about this wall? Okay, this wall is in a shady area. So why not going over the whole thing here with this blue? Which blue? French ultramarine blue. Covering this whole wall with this blue. If I want to make or create some texture at this stage on the land, I can. Or I can wait for the whole thing to dry. But let's try and see how it works when I use my brush number 2 and some sort of, I would say, warm brown colors. I am mixing some burnt sienna with yellow ochre, which is your warm yellow with burnt sienna. I'm thinking about the colors that I can use. What if I add a touch of purple to this mixture? And I'm doing all of these things on my palette. So again, I'm repeating burnt sienna, purple, yellow ochre. And I am going to move my brush side to side like this. The paper is still wet, and the feathery effect that I get here, the loose effect, is what I need. Just to have something very gestural. And these 3 colors that I mentioned, I may use more of one. For example, here I'm using more yellow ochre. This way, I have something on my ground for the future layers. So I know, for example, here, if I put these colors down, I know that I'm going to turn them into bushes, right? So these colors are just my base colors for those bushes. and help me to build upon them with more details later on. Here also there are some. Okay. The first layer is done. We're going to dry this first layer and then I will work on the second layer. I'm going to mute my mic when I'm using the hair dryer.
Debbie, what was the other color you used besides yellow ochre on the bottom?
I think she said purple.
It was purple again? Thanks.
Okay, do you have a question?
Yes, what was the other color besides yellow ochre that you used on the bottom?
It was again purple,
It
yes.
was purple, okay, thanks.
Whenever you don't know which color I use,
Just use
usually
purple.
yes, I don't know why, but purple is a very good color to use. Yes, I use purple, but I use for here, I use, and then that way I made my brown a little bit cooler and darker. But on the bottom, I use more yellow ochre. Okay.
Which is better, imperial violet or cobalt violet, which are the two purples I seem to have?
Oh, that's a very good question. So I don't
Oh no,
have,
I have plain purple too, but it's very pink. So I just,
no, we want a purple which looks like this one. If I can, let me just show you, like a very nice purple, not too cool, not too blue. So cobalt probably would be too blue.
okay. Then I'll go the imperial violet.
Let me show you this one, the purple that I have. I don't know if
Okay,
the
my
quality,
violet is a little like that.
yeah.
A little darker.
Another way is to mix permanent rose with cobalt blue to make your purple. That is another way.
Okay.
But when it's that cobalt violet, I'm afraid probably it's more towards cobalt blue. Okay. Any questions so far? No? Next step. I'm going to start by working on the barn first. The first thing that I'm going to paint is the roof, red roof. Using brush number 6, you can use your round brush number 8. The red color, mix it, make it and see which one looks more like the red that we see. It's a red brown. So again, burnt sienna, English red, cadmium orange, mix these colors. I want you also to see how the color that you're mixing matches the picture. Maybe some cadmium red. I'm mixing these colors on my palette and I will lay down onto a practice paper until I'm happy with my color. I think I need more brown here. And for that, I'm going to go to my burnt sienna.
What was the first color? before you added burnt sienna?
Yes, so burnt sienna, you can use a cadmium orange to your
Okay.
burnt sienna. Yep. This is a good color. So it is a combination of cadmium orange and burnt sienna. I'm gonna lay this color down, and I know in some areas there are some like darker browns. I can see them on the roof too. And I may add them. I will add them later on, not right now. So right now I'm putting the first layer down, too orange. This is too orange. So what should I do? How can I fix it? Adding some red. Which red? If you have cadmium red would be a great color. And I am using, the technique that I'm using is wet on dry. The brush is wet with paint. The paper is bone dry. And to be able, in order to be able to move my brush faster, we talked about that, add a good balance of water, because if the brush is too dry, first of all, you won't get that transparency in your work. Everything is going to be too heavy. And you cannot move your brush fast enough. I'm adding some more red to this part. So I'm playing with these colors. It's not that I mix all three colors and I just use the same thing. I play around with them. In some areas, more cadmium red. In some areas, red sienna. Cadmium orange. Adding some more water, washing off this edge, getting rid of these crisp, dry, sharp edges first, softening them. Oh, what if I get some weird shapes and textures by doing so? That is okay. We're going to turn them into some textures of tiles on the roof. Not a problem. I'm softening some of these edges a bit more. Okay. Now I am going to use brush number 2. Using the same colors, I'm just going to go over the edge of the roof. These are some fine details that I need a skinnier brush for. Here. On this side of the roof, we can mostly see the bottom part of the roof, and it's dark, but I think it would be a good idea to just add a very fine line on this side, and we're gonna add cool brown and a little bit of blue on the bottom. So right now I'm just covering this whole thing, this part of the roof, with a warm brown, but we will cover the most part of it with a cool color. Second layer, other, next layer. Not yet. Another thing which has almost the same color as the roof, probably more red, is the door. Cadmium red. And a little bit of those colors that I had on my palette already. Which colors? Cadmium orange and burnt sienna, but more red. More than same technique. This time I'm using brush number 2 because of the size of the door. It's not too big. And I want to have more control over my brush strokes. while we are waiting for the roof and the door to dry, in order to work on the walls, I'm going to work on the far scene evergreens. While I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about the technique that I use to paint these trees. It's interesting. They are far, but still you can figure out their shapes. You cannot see much details, but you can figure out the shapes. It's different from when we see like a pile of darkness in the far scene. It is a little bit different. So because of that reason, I'm thinking about another technique. And you can watch me when I'm doing that. I hope it's everything goes well and works. I'm testing and trying. So the color is the same color that we use for other lessons. Again, purple and green. So which green? I would say if you have Russian green, use that green. I am using Cascade Green by Daniel Smith. Hookers is a good green if you have it, but mix it with a little bit of purple. I think Windsor Green, I know Carol, you have Windsor Green, you can mix it with your purple. And again, test. Having a paper right beside you and see if you like this. You don't want your green to be too raw and too bright because of the wavelength. So it is going farther away and it's getting cooler color, more purplish, if it makes sense. So something like this. Now, I'm using brush number 6 because I want to move fast. Let's go. You can practice these type of movements a little bit side to side and then pointy. And then I'm just adding those evergreens right beside one another here. This can be a little bit challenging because if you don't like this technique, you can use the one that we learned before. Just wet this area right beside the horizon line and start adding your colors on the base right beside the horizon line and let your colors, pigments to bleed. I'm gonna go even faster, moving faster. Let's see. Maybe just one more.
I have another question. Sorry, I'm behind.
Sure, yes, of
You did
course.
just the green and the purple, or there was something else in there?
No, just these two colors, but the green should be a right green. So probably not sap green.
I have Hooker's green, which you said
Yeah,
was.
use that one. Yep, that's a good. Switching to number 2 for more details, especially on the base. And now this part is wet, which actually helps me to darken the bottom even better. I like these like plays with pigments here. I want to add more. I feel that here is too flat, too transparent. So what I'm going to do, same colors that I used, this time I'm going to add them one by one to the base here and there. So here I'm just dabbing some purple, right? Just some purple over this deep green color. Next, I may want to use my brush number 2 again. And in order to go over some of the trees and give them more definition of everything, using the same colors, green and purple. As you can see, I'm not going over every single tree, right? We don't want everything to look very similar, cookie cuttery, if it makes sense. Some dark accents here and there. After I'm done with this part, since here is too far and everything is very faded because it is far, I'm gonna wash off the crisp edge that I created here by using my clear wet brush. How? By softening this. I'm just gonna go right beside this line and I am going to soften it. Okay. The roof is dry now. We can work on the walls. Looking at the picture, thinking about the color that I can use for the walls, it would be a very cool brown color, which I will mix and create first on a scrap paper. For that, you can start with burnt umber or use raw umber. Raw umber is darker. You also can use sepia. So earth umber is something like this. It's more. It is actually not a bad color, especially for the lighter wall. this color. And then when I want to darken it, guess which color I will use.
Purple.
There you go.
What colors
You-
do you use if you don't have burnt umber? I have raw umber. I don't have burnt umber.
You can use raw umber. Try, Kate, try raw umber on a paper and tell me how it looks like comparing to the color of the wall. Is it too dark? Because it can be.
It's a little dark.
It is a little dark.
Yeah.
Do you have sepia?
No.
Okay, so that's okay. Mix your raw umber with yellow ochre.
I was just gonna ask, what about that one's right in front of me? Okay, that's what I'll do.
Good job. You're learning now.
Slowly.
Yeah. This is when you add purple to it. Actually, I added purple right on the paper. So you turn it darker, which is good. Okay. So we're gonna start by using just the lighter brown, and some people can use burnt umber and yellow ochre, mix them together, or use raw umber by itself. Oops, it's strong now. Again, using the technique wet on dry, but with good amount of water, because we want it to be very transparent and light. This side of the barn faces the sunlight and it's light in value. I'm going to use the same color for this darker wall. Remember, we also used a base blue color on this when we were working wet on wet. However, now it's very light, but even that light blue helps this brown to look darker. And we are going to also add more layers later. So right now I'm just adding that same color that I used for the other wall here. And you can see that I left some white passages, light passages here, because we are going to use them to show some like old textures of the wall. Now that this wall is still damp, I'm going to go to my purple and mix it with the brown color on the palette carefully. And carefully again, under the roof, I'm just going to test and see how the paper responds. putting some dark colors here and there, and I know that the wall is still damp, but these are all helpful to give me some feelings of the scene, the old barn. And then in the next layer, when everything dries, I will give them more definition. But the movements of my brush now is more vertical, following those spaces in between the wooden pieces, wooden boards. And then when I get to, for example, an opening or broken window or a wall, I just darken it more with this purple. But this is not very intense. The color is very light. Still, when I compare the values on two walls with the picture, I definitely need to darken this wall more, which I would very soon. Next step is to work on the trees. To work on the trees, I'm going to start with brush number 2. I may move back to 6. I don't know. I want to see if this one works. A dark brown, raw or burnt umber, blue and purple. You can use brown more because I kind of can see the brown color, although that everything is in a very dark situation. I still can, it has some temperature, warm temperature to it. So when I start from this area, I'm careful because I want my branch to look realistic. It's coming, it's growing from a trunk and it's not coming from the root, right? It is the.
Did you put purple in your brown as usual, or is it just
Yeah.
the brown?
Brown and blue, yes.
Oh, brown, blue, and purple?
Blue and purple, yes.
Okay, just like we've always done. Okay,
But for this one, we may need more brown.
okay.
Okay. And this part is really up to you. If you feel that you don't want to add many branches, you don't have to. You can, for example, consider 2 or 3 trees back there instead of how many we have, 4 or 5. But even if you're adding 1 tree back there, it has to look realistic. It has to have enough branches. It's better than having many trees with no branches or less branches, if it makes sense.
Seppi, I missed the color combination for the branches. What 2 colors or 3 colors are you using?
Yes, burnt umber, ultramarine blue, and Windsor violet or purple, Russian purple.
I mean, okay,
Yes.
thank you. Burnt umber.
These are the colors that actually we used for other trees last time also.
Mhm.
On these branches, I'm adding a touch of burnt sienna, a warmer brown also to the same combination of colors. So I already had those colors, uh, earth umber, purple, and blue. And now I'm adding burnt sienna also. You can see how I slowly move my brush. This is something which needs focus, patience, and it takes time. Again, I look at the picture, but I am not exactly doing the same thing. I get my ideas from the reference image, and then I will go with my own brush strokes. Here, there is also a part to the barn which I forgot to add the color for here. So the best way to take care of it is to work on the negative space in this, for this area, by darkening it, and then put this light brown on it. Here is a place which I think is very dark because of the number of trunks. if I want to create the same feeling, I can do it now by using a bigger size brush. This is number 6. And adding a bunch of branches and trunks here. Again, optional. If you don't want to add these, just you can leave that area untouched. The same color that I use here, Birds Umber, I'm just gonna add it to this. Another brush which is good for the branches is this one. So the same number, but this one has longer hairs. However, for this type of brush with longer hair, you have less control over your brush strokes. I'm just gonna test and try how it works if I use it for this painting. Again, same number brush, but it is, I think you have it on your supply list. It has longer hair. The brand is Winsor Newton. It is called Rigger brush. especially as I get farther away from the main trunk, I can use more water. And because the twigs and branches get very skinny, and because of that, they get wider. So just by adding more water, you can create that effect too. Let me tell you something. It is a very good brush for branches. It makes your job easier to paint them too, comparing to the other one. Okay, ladies, I'm gonna take a 2-minute break just to bring some tea here, and then I will answer the questions, okay? And continue the work. If you don't have any question now, I'm gonna go downstairs and get some tea, and then I will be back to you. Okay. Okay, is there any questions so far? Let me know if you have any questions. Comparing to kids classes, this class is very quiet. Sometimes I feel that I had kindergarten today, 24 kids at the same time. Miss Golestani, Miss Golestani. So
All by yourself?
I have a student teacher this year. She was with me too. But yeah, which is a big help. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, any questions? No?
No,
Okay, great. So I'm gonna continue. I am going to now, I'm gonna add some more tweaks. I really enjoyed working with this rigger brush. So I'm gonna add some more tweaks, and then I know I still need to add more, but probably in future steps, then I'm gonna move on to the house and the land. So some more tweaks first.
more twigs. I don't like twigs.
I know twigs are not easy, I know. No one likes twigs. Okay, so here. a great place to practice painting trees, plein air painting, is Fenway Park, right in front of the MFA. And those trees are beautiful. I should take some more pictures and probably we can work on them as a lesson.
Seppi, what number, Seppi, what number brush are you
This
using?
is 2. This is number 2, Carol, but it's a rigger brush. So if you compare it with this number 2, can you see how this one's hair is longer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
This
So-
one, you probably have this one because in my old supply list, I had this one as your skinny brush, this one. I think you do have
Okay.
these.
Are they black velvet?
No, they are not. They are Winsor Newton.
Windsor Newton, okay.
Yep. Rigger, Winsor Newton. Yep.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna add some more branches here and then I will move on to the other parts. Okay. Now let's take a break from the trees and the twigs, all those things coming. Okay, I should put these trees on the side though. Forgive me, everyone. These 3 trees on this side, I'm gonna paint them on the side. And since they are under the shadow of the house, we are making a cooler brown by adding purple and brown. And if you're using burnt umber, add some blue to the mixture too. Blue, purple, and burnt umber. If you're using raw umber, purple and raw umber is good. You don't need to add blue. Back to number 2. Bushes. And that's what I'm gonna work on next. For that, I am using two brushes, number 6 and number 2. And I am mixing yellow ochre and burnt sienna. Yellow ochre and burnt sienna. So the dry bushes or these, whatever you call them, are very more toward yellow. And for that, I am using more yellow ochre and less earth sienna. Brush number 6 is to create a nice loose effect for these. But then with brush number 2, I will go and create more details. So I can move section by section and I can start adding details, starting from this thicker brush, moving on to the skinnier one. Now I'm using number 6, as you can see. And wherever I see that, oh, it's getting too yellow, I just can add some more. I just can dab some more red sienna. And now this brush is number 2. And with that, I'm just gonna pull up some of these pigments and create those spiky look. Another thing which is very important is the dark value under and in between. And you know the magical color that I'm going to use for that, purple. So I'm using purple. You can use your purple directly onto your wet paper like this. As you can see, I'm just dabbing this purple here to the root near the base. I bring some of this purple up toward the tip. Really squint your eyes and look at these bushes and see the light and dark values on them. You really can see the base, the bottom is darker. And for that, I'm just adding or dabbing some purple to the base, as you can see. This time I may need to tilt my board the opposite way. I put the box under this side of my paper. Okay. Next section, right beside it, same technique and colors. I'm using a touch of cadmium yellow. I feel that some of them are very golden. And they get shorter and shorter. To the right. Sunbird sienna. And the purple, I added the line here. I just want to blend the line into the bushes by dabbing on the base of some of them. And then I'm gonna add more water to this purple, and I am going to make a very light line here. Back to those yellow and golden colors. Do you remember we softened the lines here up here using the clear brush? Here is closer to our view. Still, we don't want to see a crisp line. So I'm just going to soften some areas. For example, here. And then I keep adding some more like gestures of those golden brown colors here and there. There are many of them, for example, here. But then this time I'm not spending a lot of time. They're more like some accents of warm colors in different parts. We added some wet on wet in our second layer now. I'm just adding some more here also. And then to get rid of this very perfect line here, I just can go over and wash off a little bit. So that's what you can do. You may end up with something more like a you will get a good texture. Although that it looks like a blossom here, we need that. And then I'm gonna add some more of the same value almost here. Thinking about the composition, I don't want anything to be perfectly horizontal right in the front scene. So I'm gonna get rid of that by using some colors or changing the values like this. Okay. Now let's see. Yeah, we have around like I'm gonna work for 5 more minutes on the house, some details on the wall, and then I will we will talk about your artworks. Those of you who send your artworks. So we're going to darken this a little bit more. And for that, I need a bigger size brush. we want to glaze. Glazing is when you use a light value color. Usually it is like it is not the first layer. Glazing usually happens on the painted surfaces like this one, for example. And I'm going to glaze this one with some cobalt blue. In glazing, we are not using colors too heavy, meaning that we need a good balance of water like this. And we are not rubbing too much, we move fast. And usually for glazing, not always, but usually blue is the color that we use. Cobalt blue is the color that we use.
Zeppy, what size brush is that?
This one is a big one, 12. You don't need this one. You also can use Linda. Is that Linda?
Pat.
Sorry.
That's okay.
You can, Pat, you can use your wash brush too, this one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And then I'm gonna bring this blue, this cobalt blue to the side of the house. Remember the shadow of the house? We talked about it, we put the color down for it when everything was wet for the first layer. Now we can also go over the snow and make this shadow even darker. Base of the house, this part where the snow meets the wall is dark. Under the roof here is darker. So I'm glazing this blue under the roof also. Okay. Now, let's work a little on the texture of the wall here on the lighter side of the house, barn. Mixing and making a darker brown, you know which colors to use. If you want me to repeat, we are going to use raw or earth, umber and purple. And as you can see, it seems that I am drawing with my brush. I'm drawing some of these vertical lines, not too intense, not too dark.
Which brush, your tiny one?
Tiny one, number 2. And here, I am not counting every single one of those lines, right? I'm just randomly, freely adding some. Even when I'm adding a line, I'm not gonna go all the way. For example, here, if there is a line, I'm just gonna do a gesture right in the middle or on top here or down here. So we don't wanna see a complete continuous line. Okay. There are some really dark areas because of the openings or broken areas. So the inside of the barn is pretty dark. And for making that dark color, you need to mix your brown and purple and blue at the same time. You also can use your either Payne's Gray, if you have it, or neutral tint. But if you're using those colors, I would suggest to add a little bit of, especially Payne's Gray. No, sorry, Payne's Gray is more, it has some blue in it. A neutral tint, I would suggest to add a touch of blue or purple to it to make it darker. Which parts are dark? I didn't draw them. I'm just going to paint this area. For example, when I look at this part, it seems that this part of the wall is broken and it's dark. There is a hole here too. And here. We need to give it a sense of depth. This is why I add my very dark, dark, dark value on the corner of this opening. And I'm thinking about, okay, if I'm doing this, how does this line look like? Is it really perfectly horizontal? Is it angled toward the bottom or top? So I'm thinking about all of these things. It seems that this part is kind of leveled with my eye level. And so here is almost horizontal. So these are the things which are important when you are drawing a house. And while I'm working on this dark value, I'm thinking about those bushes. So I'm not going all the way down. It seems that there are some bushes here. So I'm making them by painting in between them, if it makes sense. Because there are some bushes here. Okay. I'm gonna stop, and in order to talk about your works.
What was the last color that you used on those?
This
windows?
one.
Is that purple
So
again?
do you have, yeah, I mixed my, I mixed purple, blue, and raw umber, but if you have Payne's
have-
gray,
I have raw umber and I have Payne's gray.
okay, so you can try Payne's gray and see how you like it.
Okay.
Okay.
Just by itself or mixed?
Yeah,
with
just
it?
by itself. It is. So if it was neutral tint, it was perfectly gray. Payne's gray is a little bit like bluish gray, so it's very good. If you want to warm it up, you can add your, you have raw umber, right? You have burnt, you can add burnt umber.
I have raw umber.
You have raw umber. Okay, add your raw umber to it. Okay, I'm gonna come to you now. So I am going to start sharing my screen and talking about the artworks that you sent to me. And if I'm missing anyone, please let me know. I'm going to start by Linda. I know that Linda, yeah. Okay. No. Okay. Okay. You send me, Linda, your painting. Karen. Hold on. Not yet. Hold on.
Maybe around 11:30.
Yes. So
Oh.
is this one the one that you say you have two? You put like two of them.
And then I put the one from the week before next to it,
Okay, great. Yes.
but I had
So-
different size papers, so that was kind of unfortunate.
Yes, I saw that and I said, oh, I wish that you were using. Why did you use it? You didn't
Well,
like.
I was using 10x4 of that arches, and then I wanted it to switch to 9x12, and it just happened to happen between
Okay.
these two paintings and I
Yeah.
wanted to use the good paper. I have some other paper, but I like this paper.
You did a great job on both of them, honestly. And I like the second one a lot too. I think now I can feel that right now I'm sharing the one that you sent, like 2 pictures or just one. Am I sharing?
That's the one, that's the most recent one.
Okay, so let me actually stop sharing that one because I want to share the one that you put right beside the other one as well. So here, share this one. And I will share it now in a minute or less. There we go.
It's funny with the sizes.
Nice job. Nice job, because now I really can feel the 3-dimensional look of your trunks, although that they are kind of in a silhouette situation. Also, you did a very good job on your branches and twigs. These are not easy. I can definitely see that you spent time and you created a very realistic look to your trees. I can feel the snow on the branches. I can definitely feel the texture of the snow on the ground. And the far seen trees are very good. They came out very nicely. The details that you added, especially on the second one, I think it worked very well. Shadows on the snow, you did a good job. I really like the transparency. If you can see my cursor here, can you see my cursor? The transparency here, it is very pleasant to look at.
Oh, I thought I needed to fix that, but okay, that's good.
I think you did a very good job here. Yes, the sky is good. Well done. Sign it.
Oh, yeah.
Very good job. So I'm gonna stop sharing, then I will pull up the next painting. Why is this? Okay. Share screen. And we are going now to talk about Barbaras. Share. Okay, so let me just pull it up myself too. You did a very good job, Barbara. I want to see more branches and twigs. I love your trees. I like the shadows on the snow, especially on the base of the trees. Trees in the far scene came out nicely. The sky is good. All I want to see now, which you still can do, are more branches. I feel that it's sometimes I get it. It's not easy to add more, but by adding more branches, you will create a nice, realistic look to your work. The bush on this side, I like it. The trees in the far scene and all those lovely branches, I love them. Shadows are good. And for some reason, I feel that this tree is not planted inside the snow. Probably you need to darken the bottom of the trunk, this part, a little bit more, if it makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Me
Do you
too.
agree with me with the number of your branches? Do you think that you need to add more too, or do you think that no, you're done? You don't want to.
Oh, no, I definitely need more branches. I don't think, yeah, I need to do more branches.
Okay, and this is just probably a 10-minute work, and then you can also sign your work.
Thanks. Okay.
Yes, you did a great job. So I am now going to next friend here, share screen. And this one is Kate. You sent me some pictures, right?
I sent 4 little small ones on one.
Yep. Yes, I can see that. And I'm gonna share it. And I'm gonna open
And then I
it.
took the tape off too, and I made some.
Okay, let me just open it for myself too.
I can't figure out the pink and the yellow. It's just like, it looks like a first grader did the background.
Mm, I don't think so. How you are particular about the grade level, first grade?
Oh. Well, because I work with kindergarten to fifth grade.
Okay, okay.
And sometimes seventh. So.
No, I think the sky actually came out nicely. Probably what you mean is, so here, can you see my cursor?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Here I feel that we have more bleeding and it worked well. On this one, probably the paper was not wet enough when you were putting, for example, the pink right beside the blue.
Oh, okay.
Yes, when that is the case, the colors don't bleed into one another to give you that sense of like transparency for the sky, especially. And this can be done in two ways. You either can wet the whole when you want to start. You can wet the whole sky first with just clear water and put these colors down and let them bleed into one another. Or the paper can be completely dry and you can start with a very watery blue and then very watery pink right beside it.
Mhm.
They're going to bleed into one another also that way without wetting the paper ahead of time.
Okay. I did
Oh.
the background of the two on the left at the same time, and then I had to go get my
Mhm.
son at the train, so then I couldn't finish.
So this one is the last one you did, right?
Yes.
I like this one. I think you did a good job on your farcing trees. Keep working on this one. And I like how you divided your paper into 4 different sections, practicing. While, for example, you're waiting for this one to dry, you can go back to that one to add more.
Mhm.
This is a very good way. Nice job. Keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
And I promise you, by practicing more, very soon you're going to feel more comfortable and struggling with painting with watercolor or painting in general is something natural for even professional artists. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that feeling is there for everyone in any level, but you are definitely improving. I can see that. Good
Okay.
job.
Thank you.
Of course. Did I miss anyone? Let me come back to you. Did someone send their work and I forgot to share? Does anyone have any questions? Talk to me.
We're still here.
Oh, that's great. Yes. So believe it or not, next week is our last week, last class. If you want to continue, we can continue after the February break. I'm a teacher and I'm so excited for my 1 week break.
Yes.
Yes. But I will send out probably a Google form and ask you if you're interested to continue. However, in May, I will start teaching in-person classes in Framingham, Garden in the Woods. If you want to come, probably I cannot continue my online classes during that month, May, because I'm teaching on Thursday nights from 5 to 8 p.m. Okay. But if you're interested or not, I will send you information as soon as I get the information. Okay.
Good.
Have a great night.
Yes.
So much.
Thank you,
Seppi.
Seppi.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
That's beautiful.